everyone, and welcome to an exciting episode of Jurassic News! And boy, the voice crack. And boy, do we have an interesting one today, because it is the 1st of May as recording this video, and that means that this is supposedly the time that people have put around that we're going to get the trailer. The second trailer, which will show more stuff, because they always do that. But this has been the day where they have showcased so many of the toys, and let's start out with the biggest reveal, that being the T-Rex. Yeah, that's right, it's the T-Rex. Yeah, it's been put out that this was, I think, 9 hours ago of recording this. It was such an effort to try and find out who broke the story, who broke the news, the Jurassic news. And I thought it was Chris Pugh, actually, for the first time. I mean, I'm crediting everyone here, because he put out that, according to Mattel's toys, that this thing is called the Distortus Rex. I don't know about you. It feels like a bit of a Distortus Rex. It feels like a, you never say Tyrannosaurus Rex, do you? You always say T-Rex. But Distortus? The Tortoise Rex is here. But it wasn't actually Chris that covered it first initially, because there was an embargo, and I think maybe today we'll officially see it come out. I think it was just put up a little bit too early. RJ on Twitter actually found it on a Smith's France website, I think it was, or it was Europe, and the other toys are slowly being rolled out today, but I think this is the biggest breaking one. So this is the Rumble and Rampage villain dinosaur. So this is our first time seeing a detailed toy. Now, we saw it with the slime eggs before, but we didn't see any texture or, any colors being added to it. And I don't know about you, if we look at this, and, we saw the one from the trailer, we compare that to the one in the trailer. Was it that color? I don't know. Again, we've heard rumors that there's going to be multiples of mutants, or at least multiples of this mutant. Anyway, there might be other mutants. We'll not talk about those ones. But this one is a lighter color, and if it is supposed to be the one we've seen in the trailer, it's massive. But by the looks of it, with articulations, it's only going to be about that big, the size of a normal sort of toy. But maybe it'll have a colossal version. If it does, it's going to be a huge box. Who knows? We'll see. But anyway, we've got more. Toygate is here. We have all of the characters. These are, of course, 3D renderings. These have been found on various Smith's toy websites, which is the company that basically oversees toy distribution now in the UK, because Toys R Us no longer exists in the UK. So this is the one with Zara Bennett. I think it is. Is it Zara Bennett? Zara Bennett. Yeah, Zora Bennett. There we go. Sorry. Zara, Zach, too many Z's. I don't know who. Somebody at the Jurassic World franchise went, we like Z's. Every character, it's going to be an inside joke. There's going to be a character in every movie at the start with a Z. Are we funny? Yeah, anyway. So this is showing the raptor that we sort of seen plastered all over the merchandise and all that jazz, and the balloons. Remember that we had the balloons. But we also have some other ones as well. Zora has a little backpack that opens and closes, which is very interesting. This is Ruben Delgado. Delgado. Wonder Woman. That one. But yes, there's a Parasaurolophus. I think it's supposed to be like a baby Parasaurolophus. Now, it looks very similar to the ones we've seen in Dominion, but it has a little bit of a different stripe. So this could be, interbreeding with other Parasaurolophus species, or it could just be a test subject. They were splicing different kinds of DNA in this lab on the island, though it still has not got a name. And then we have Duncan. Was it Kincaid? Kincaid. I don't know. Anyway, we got Duncan here with another Velociraptor. So normally, I think we've seen this raptor before when it comes to Mattel, but this time it looks a bit different. This time it's orange. So I hinted that this may be, it's similar to the one in the chamber, which had two heads, the failed one. So are we seeing some sexual dimorphism here, a bit like Jurassic Park 3? I think Lost World had it, but it wasn't that clear in the Lost World because they were all kind of tiger stripes with a little bit of differentiation. But in Jurassic Park 3, there was. 100%. Very different. So with Duncan and this other raptor, even though I think it's another sculpt that we've seen in the past when it comes from Mattel, chances are that we're going to get at least 2 species of raptor, or at least a male and a female, possibly. This is another male that we are seeing in... And this is also something I wanted to showcase, is if you want to collect all of the human characters, or at least the main cast, you're going to have to buy a lot of toys. Basically, I think that's par for the course, though. But this is the Launch and Battle Vehicle set, which comes with detachable wing mirrors, as well as a net launcher. Now, I don't think this is going to be in the movie. I think Mattel is finally taking some creative liberties when it comes to vehicles. We've got the male raptor from the Rebirth movie, and we've also got what I presume is the turncoat, the guy who has good intentions, and then all of a sudden he's got the DNA that they've collected, and he's using it for nefarious purposes, and he just used them as expendables. At least I think, because I think we've seen this character driving away in this vehicle, and he clutches the suitcase to him, which seems very similar to Fallen Kingdom. Do you remember with the Indominus Rex bone? And I think the evil guy who got eaten by the T-Rex at the end, he was holding onto that briefcase. It's very similar here. Hopefully we don't do that. Hopefully he doesn't turn out to be one of those betrayer revealed. And then, so if you want the most bang for your buck, a different Zora Bennett, the Zora Bennett with a different costume, you have the Spinosaur Danger set, which includes Zora, and I cannot remember for the life of me, Alan Grant Jr. Basically, he has some relation to Alan Grant, and this is like the weakest set. And I say that quite, there is better sets out there, but to call this a weak set just shows how good the rest of the stuff is that we're getting as far as the toys go, because it has the Spinosaur, but we've got such a way better Spinosaur when it comes to articulation. We've got the one that has the rudder tail, it has a snapping jaw, turning head. But with this one, it's just like kind of stagnant, and just the head moves, the jaw up, and the neck moves, and what have you. But it does show the gun that I'm assuming we see Zora Bennett put together once they are crashed on the island, so that comes in parts. It could, maybe it smashes. You could do a little bit of playability there, as well as a little case, which is always good. Kids always like to put different things in there. Some sweets later on, or whatever. They go on the mission to collect the sweets. But this is something that I can't believe we're doing. Like, with Dominion, it was funny to have Ellie Sattler wearing her, original outfit, and it's been memed to death in all pop culture. This pink shirt with the blue, and it's a female character, and they're on a scientific expedition. Yeah, it's Ellie Sattler, we get it, it's funny, haha. It's a bit like the Wilhelm scream at this point. It's done to death, can we move on? But even in friggin' Rebirth, we're calling back to Alan Grant with the same costume. Now, I don't know if I even noticed this when I watched the trailer, but seeing the toy, I'm just like, oh, come on. You're the same franchise. You can't meme it like that. Like yourself. Hey. The references when it comes to Jurassic, the canon and the references, they just end up eating themselves in the end. What's that? The snake that eats its own tail. I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, and then we see T-Rexes. Oh boy, Mattel has not, that they are still up to their old tricks, and that is T-Rexes. You like T-Rex? Here's 10 of them. So already with the initial wave, we have Power Devour T-Rex, we have Super Colossal T-Rex, and we have Lab Lockdown T-Rex. Now, this isn't actually as bad as you may think, because if you take a close look at these T-Rexes, one of them is not like the other. The Lab Lockdown is not like the others. The Power Devour and the Super Colossal are exactly the same T-Rex, colorings, markings, and everything, but the Lab Lockdown isn't. It is a different color. So we're going to see 2 T-Rexes. We see sexual dimorphodons. Yeah, sexual dimorphodons. We're going to see the male raptor, the female raptor, and we're also going to see possibly a male and female T-Rex. Interesting. I like that. That's very good. I mean, hopefully it's not just a different mutation, and this is like, sort of the sexual dimorphism that we'll see. But this T-Rex does look a little bit different. Looks a little shorter and stouter and podgier. Maybe the males are like that. Maybe the females are like that. But I wanted to look at this one because this is the Power Devour T-Rex, and in the images on Smith's website and all that jazz and the Toys R Us, It has a close-up of a T-Rex roaring, and it has a red light behind it. If you remember, when the test audiences watched the second trailer that we have yet to see, they said that there was, I can't remember who it was now, one of the articles published a bit in it that said that there was a fire-breathing T-Rex. And they never apologized for it. Well, maybe they did. I think there was something said about, oh, we apologize about the but there's something about, anyway. So, could this be the T-Rex that is fire-breathing or has some sort of fire around it? I would highly doubt that we're making fire-breathing anything in this franchise, but there's a first for everything, and who knows? If you want to go that way, at this point, whatever. I don't care. The franchise has evolved into something that's I've far long since cared about continuity, and I just love that if you look at the little "don't put your hand in the T-Rex's mouth," they use the very old Jurassic World website render of the T-Rex, but somebody did get their hands. Jurassic Addict Final Fix did get their hands on the new T-Rex, and they show it next to the John Hammond Collection T-Rex. And this is one that I think I have somewhere. I've got it somewhere here. I never unboxed it. I found it. I was like, oh, that's cool. But John Hammond T-Rex was something that people really wanted in the toy collecting sphere, and said that its dimensions, its anatomy, the paint applications, and everything were brilliant. But you compare that T-Rex to this one. This is the lab lockdown T-Rex, the shorter, stumpier one. But just look at the feet. The feet are more in proportion. They're smaller. Look at the teeth. They're not these rounded, blocky ones. They look like teeth. I will say they go maybe a bit too far back, right up to the gum line there, possibly. It looks like it has a lip, like it has the nodules there, possibly. And it's maybe got a bit more bulkier arms. But I would say this looks way better proportion-wise as well to a T-Rex. I remember seeing someone say that, is it just me, or is this T-Rex way better than what they've produced, or the John Hammond ones? And then somebody responded with that they're just like Mattel are getting better and better the more that the time they're putting into it, and the sculpts and everything. And I believe that to be true from this example. So yes, maybe we're looking at even better T-Rexes than we've had in the past. But there was loads of other toys, lots of smaller ones. There was Hadrosaur put out there, some Chilia. There was some loads of weird ones, but there was a crocodile, and it's not the first time we've seen crocodile. Mattel has made a Sarcosuchus, I think, in the past, but we got Jurassic World Rebirth here. We have a scene with a rainforest that's flooded, or a river. And I've speculated in the past, especially with Jurassic World Alive, they had the Dilophoboa, or the Titanoboa looks, I think it was, and that its background, its splash, was, in old ruins. Possibly, something that isn't dinosaur related. Are we going to see the Deinosuchus or Prestosuchus or something like that in this? I don't think so. But it's fun to speculate. But I'm not going to be here and be like, there's a 60% chance that we're going to see it. Because that would be stupid. Anyway, on to other things that aren't just toys, even though I've said Toygate. Oops, hold on, let me change that title. There we go. Right, so Rick Raptor, our beautiful Tarbosaur enjoyer, his favorite movie is Speckles the Tarbosaur. Anyway, has put together this lovely little list of all the ratings that the Jurassic franchise has got in the past, and all of them, including Jurassic World Rebirth, it's got PG-13s. But the reasoning given from the MPAs has changed over the years. So let's have a look. Jurassic Park, intense science fiction terror. I mean, I don't know about terror. I mean, science fiction, cloning or the science fiction part of it, the DNA. Anyway, Lost World got intense sci-fi terror and violence, so they stepped it up a little bit because, Eddie Carr gets ripped in half, and you see that on the screen. Jurassic Park 3, intense sci-fi terror and violence. Again, I guess there's some people get decapitated or eaten, but they're kind of off screen, or they get blocked by certain things. They get PG-13'd off screen. That's the saying. Jurassic World gets intense sequence of science fiction violence and peril. Okay. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom also got the same. Jurassic World Dominion, Little bit of a change here. Intense sequence of action, some violence, and language. I don't know what they said in Jurassic World Dominion to give it the language, but hey ho, it was in there. I don't know why. And Jurassic World Rebirth, apparently the biggest offender. Intense sequence of violence, action, bloody images. Bloody images. None of the other ones got that, even though they did have blood. Some suggestive references. Oh my. What? Are we talking about innuendos? Or are we talking about some dinosaurs in bikinis? Hey, hey. Language and a singular drug reference. So it's just it's amazing that they're pulling it apart. So yeah, that is interesting that it's still the mind boggles the fact that this is getting a PG-13 with a bloody images, suggestive references, language, a drug reference, sequences of violence, but anything to let the kids watch it. Because I think PG-13 is where it's like, oh, kids over 13 are allowed to see it, obviously, but under 13 are allowed to watch it with a parental guidance or a parental figure there, I think. I don't work in the industry there, but I'm pretty sure that's how that one goes anyway. So yeah, it appears to be pushing the boundaries in more ways than one, including suggestive references. And we officially have a time. This was posted on Twitter by Muzshaik07, I think it is, where AMC Theaters and Regal, which are, because we've had lots of times in the past where people said, it's 100 minutes. It's the shortest of them all. And it feels like, this is official. 2 hours, 14 minutes, both putting the same time lengths on them. And, this is cinema. This is theaters. They actually show the films and they have the information. So 2 hours 14 minutes, which is, I think it puts it as the second longest movie behind Dominion. I think Dominion was the longest one, but 2 hours 14 minutes. I remember back in the day watching Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship, and it was a big deal because I think that was 2 hours, I think. And as a kid, there was parents being like, oh my God, we're going to have to pack our kids' lunch boxes. We're going to have to eat in the cinema. You know what I mean? It's like, oh wow. And now at 2 hours 14, we don't even blink at that. 2 hours 14 it's a long time, but it also is interesting in terms of what the movie is going to do, right? Jurassic Park 3, I think, was the shortest. And this gave Jurassic Park 3 vibes, right? Like, go to an island, collect a thing, get the MacGuffin, save a kid, whatever, come back, right? That's what it felt like. And it was super quick. It was short, happy, cheerful, terrible, but good. We'll say. It didn't take itself too seriously. But Jurassic World Rebirth, for 2 hours 14 minutes, feels like there's more to the movie happening than we don't know. Or at least there's going to be a lot in there. It's either going to be really well paced with a lot of stuff we haven't seen, or it's going to be dragged out. I don't know. It all remains to be seen when it comes out in July. We had another little scene. This probably comes from the trailer 2, which we haven't seen yet. And it was, I think it was a USA Today article, I think. I can't remember. It was a couple of days ago now this came out. I thought it was quite interesting. It showed something in the water. Now, I was thinking, is it in its mouth or is it behind it? It looks like it's slightly behind it. But also, if it's that far away from the Mosasaur, surely it would be, barely visible, right? Because, that's how things happen in the ocean. The particles, you get so many the further you get away, and it's invisible after a certain time. But it seems to be very clear. You can see the reflection on it almost as clear as the Mosasaur. Mosasaur reflections, they show the color of it. But we're going to get some underwater shots of the Mosasaur, which I always find very interesting because when it comes to movies, don't you want to film from the character's perspective, right? You want to film from the boat because you're putting the audience in the perspective of the people being attacked by the creature. You're in the boat. But then when you pull the camera back and now you're looking at this horse, now you're a kid. Now you've got no consequences. We're an audience just watching a thing happen. I mean, don't get me wrong, it'll look amazing. I just think from a storytelling perspective that, you know, you have to choose a shot for a specific reason to show a thing rather than just, hey, that looks awesome, let's show it, which I'm all for. But also at the same time, it's like, that's literally it. Or maybe we'll have a character fall overboard and we'll get a perspective from there. Like they'll look at the Mosasaur and then they'll turn around and then the Spinosaur will get him. Possibly. That would be that's a good way of incorporating the shot, you know. Or maybe, I don't know. Either way, I just thought this was it was a cool thing to showcase. And we have not heard the end of Chaos Theory debacle now. Yes. If you remember in my last video, we covered the story. I think it was mainly Pterodome, who pointed out that the crates from Dominion looked a bit odd. Like in Chaos Theory, they were very big, and they made all the characters look tiny. And the ones we saw in Dominion, which were exactly the same crates, mind you, they are the things that hold the Atrociraptors, were a lot smaller. And this had some heated people in the community going, no, it can't be right, look. And in the end, I mean, let's be honest, all out there, it's just a mistake. They made a mistake. They made them too big, and then that was it. But if it wasn't for certain individuals trying to make everything lore accurate, I don't think we would have this as an issue. But because every last little detail has to be scrutinized in an animated series, that it is a canon, who cares? Honestly, who cares? But because you care so much, it you know, you get people just losing their minds over the trivialest thing. And I think it's just funny. But this shows a shot of the DreamWorks visual development artist himself posted this image of how they were, you know, comparing the sizes and what reference they used for the materials and all this jazz. But they also showed the movie reference, which has Owen taller than the thing. And then they used the 3D model and make it smaller. So I don't know. I don't know who oversaw this, but they did not catch that. They must have thought, oh, well, Owen was lifting up. That's why he's higher. But anyway, there is still people who will harp on about this. We just need to chill. Not everything has to be taken seriously. Not everything has to be life and death. And some things can just be left as they are, I think. But anyway, guys, that about wraps up this Jurassic news. Hold on to your butts, because a trailer should be coming this month, I would imagine. Because, you know, we're so close. July isn't even a month. It releases at the start of July. So we literally have 2 months. We have May, June, and then everything hits, which is going to be interesting. I'm hoping for some things here in Japan. I'm hoping for some cafes to pop up. Who knows? It happened for Fallen Kingdom. It didn't happen for Dominion. Maybe it'll happen for Rebirth. Who knows? Anyway, guys, I'll be TheGamingBeaver, your host on Jurassic News. Thank you. And until next time, which may be very shortly, I'll see you in another video. Bye-bye.